What platform is the best platform to do your content marketing on? This is probably a question you're thinking if you're a business owner or you're somebody who's just looking to push your side hustle. You're thinking, where should I build my brand? And to be honest with you, the answer is not as simple as you might think. There are tons and tons of places out there where you can build your brand and build your content marketing strategy, but there are things you need to consider, because what you choose to do now it's like what we do now echoes in eternity. Nah, don't really like that. But you know what I mean? This is the thing, is that actually what you choose to do now is going to make a big difference on what you do. So we're going to break down in this episode of Content Marketing 101 4 things you need to consider when it comes to choosing your platform with content marketing. Let's dive straight into it. So the very first one we have is your ideal client. So realistically, where are your ideal client? Where are they hanging out? What are they doing? That is the platform that you really need to be on. Okay, so it's great that you might like other platforms and other stuff, but you need to be where the audience is. So if your audience is, for example, in a B2B space, your business, things like that, then realistically you do want to be looking at hanging out on somewhere like LinkedIn. You want to be looking at hanging out in places where the business is done. That's the very, very first step. Where are your ideal audience? Because a bit of market research will tell you that's where they are. An amazing thing with this in the running world, for example. In the running world, they have an app called Strava. I think it's Strava, something like that. Anyway, Strava is like a social media app for runners. Now, I worked with a client. We were talking about this, and I said, you should probably create content and make your target Strava, because that's where your community is. So it's not always as simple as this cool individual, like this, is it Facebook, is it YouTube, is it LinkedIn? Go where the audience is. That's one of the first steps to consider. The second one we have is search factor. You have to consider search. So when I talk about search factor, what I'm talking about here is, are you building content and building your content marketing strategy on a place that is searchable in the long term? So when you make content, and I say this in so many episodes, so you can understand this, if you're listening to this and again, or watching this and you're like, Ash, you say this all the time. I'm like, yes, because it's really important. It's really, really important that you do this. And that is that you search and you create content in a searchable place. That's right, a searchable place. So things like YouTube, podcasting, Google, like blogging, this allows your content to be seen over and over again. So for example, this episode here of Content Marketing 101, which is, which platform should you consider? You could be watching this in 4 years' time, answering the question that you have. And so making sure that it's built on a search, or considering a search factor, is really, really important. That's another thing to consider. Let's look at the third thing. So the third one is underpriced attention. So a lot of social platforms and content platforms, you want to look out for what they call underpriced attention, and this is where the platforms don't have enough content. They don't have enough content on there, so you can get more exposure. You're seeing this right now on recording this, on doing this. You see this on TikTok. You see this on LinkedIn. You saw it a bit on Clubhouse. This is what we call underpriced attention, and for a content marketing strategy, if it aligns with your ideal audience and it's something that you want to do, you can really capitalize on that and really make a decent amount of money, a decent amount of brand building on this underpriced attention. Now, this is only underpriced for a small amount of time. Once that underpriced stuff has stopped, you're back to where everyone else is. So you need to bear that in mind, that something to consider is, if you like TikTok, but if you like, let's say you like making video, but TikTok is doing really, really well. That's really, really good. We saw it again. TikTok's doing really, really well. YouTube Shorts came out and Instagram Reels. Those two things were underpriced attention. If you ever watch my content, I dived on those. Like I was like on them like a rash straight away. I've got to get it. I'm doing 3 TikToks, 3 Instagram Reels, 3 YouTube Shorts a day, because underpriced attention. So this is something to consider with what platform should you use, is maybe consider whichever one has the underpriced attention to it. That's one definitely to think about. And then the last one, which is really, in my opinion, the most important one, is which one do you enjoy? Now, if you don't enjoy doing something, then it's not going to work. And you want to make sure you enjoy creating content for that platform. You enjoy the community on that platform. Now, for me, this is something that's quite important. I enjoy YouTube. I love YouTube. I think YouTube's an amazing place. There's some incredible creators. So I like hanging out there. I'm always there. I quite like Instagram a little bit, but I'm really not actually. From a business point of view, I use LinkedIn, but I find LinkedIn is not really the community I'm that into anymore. So you've got to go to the ones you enjoy. Now, I do all of them, obviously, because of what I have to do, but I'm not saying you have to. In fact, it's not an good idea. If you're not a content marketing expert and your job is not to do all of them, don't do them all. But like for me, I know that how I feel. There's certain things I could sit on YouTube and create content and interact and engage for hours. LinkedIn is a real push. I find that quite hard right now. 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I was on it all the time. So going on the ones you enjoy, you're going to see a better return with your platform. So that is just quickly, just an overview on those type of things. This is it's easier than you think when it comes to content marketing and what platform should you choose. It really does just boil down to, as I said, where are your audience? Is that content searchable? If that's a big deal for you, that's something you need to consider. But some people, that's fine. If you're willing to have that trade-off and go on a social media platform instead, just know that you're going to have to work harder, but that's fine. Is there underpriced attention? If there is underpriced attention, could you capitalize on that? Could you use it to your advantage? If you want to go on something like Instagram, for example, it's going to be harder, but that's fine if that's the one you want, because the most important thing, which is the final one, is do you enjoy it? Because if you enjoy it, you'll spend the time there. Very, very simple overview there for you guys. So my name is Ash Borland, guys. If you've enjoyed this episode of Content Marketing 101 and you want to learn more about content marketing, check out my free masterclass. Links in the description. Just one thing before we part ways and move into the abyss. I want to tell you that you can do it. Okay, so if you are watching this and you're listening to me or whatever it is, and you're thinking, I want to be a content marketer, I want to build a content marketing strategy, but I can't do it, I promise you, you absolutely can. Okay, have a wonderful day. Be sure to subscribe to the show, and I will see you in the next one.